Time to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Hope I get away with it. Oh, the doo-dah day. Let's go make some mead. Hey, welcome back to Hanging with Hodge. I'm Dave Hodgkins, your host. Come for the mead. Stay for stealing your wife's roses from her garden because she went off to a wedding shower and left me home alone with sharp objects. So I got to go out and get some flowers. So today we are going to go ahead and do the Great Mead Project Part 2. At first I wasn't going to be able to. Life has been really busy lately. Everything's good though, and want to thank everybody who did reach out to me. For those of you that reached out, sent me an email and stuff, give yourself an extra 1,000 points. And if you're glad just to see me back, post a comment down below and give yourself 2,000 points for any comment that you put below. So in the Great Mead Project Part 2, we need roses, we need lavender, we need vanilla, and obviously we'll need some honey. So our equipment today is rose petals, lavender, we've got a graduated cylinder, made it through college with top honors. We've got a wine thief or a turkey baster, but we call it a wine thief for today. We've got our handy dandy hydrometer. This is going to give us our reading so we know what our potential ABV is, or alcohol by volume. We've got our spatula to stir it up with, a bucket that we'll be using with the lid that has a grommet hole in it. What's the grommet hole for? Why, that'll be for this little doohickey. This is called an airlock, and that's going to keep all the bad stuff out. We've got a brew bag that we're going to be using today, and we're going to be making a tea to start off with. And then we have our honey that's soaking over here in a bath of hot water. That's going to help it pour much easier. So let's go ahead, get started, see how we started setting up to begin with. All right, so the roses are about at their end of life. They're starting to die off here anyways. But we're gonna go ahead and put them to some good use. And we're gonna go ahead and collect up our roses. We flip them towards the top. I'm just gonna actually be using the petals. Then we also want to go ahead and get these nice ones up here. They smell wonderful. My wife has done a wonderful job with her rose bushes, and now we're going to make mead out of it. All right. That should do us. Let's go on back inside and start making our tea with this. Buddy's a good dog. Yes. All right. So when you are pulling flowers right out of the garden like I just did, and you're going to use them in your mead, I'd recommend when you're taking the petals off, do it outside, because there will be still bugs inside of there. Probably don't want them inside. So if it's a nice day out, do it outside. All right. You go play. I got to take off flower petals here. Do you want flower petal? Huh? I'm just going to take all the petals off. I don't want any of the green stuff. I want just the petals. Once we've got them off, we're going to take them in, wash them, put them through a strainer or a colander, and then we're going to make a tea out of it. So we'll see you in a few minutes. So I've tried multiple ways of cleaning these, and this is what I found actually works the best. Put it into the colander and just keep moving it around with your hands. Get everything off. I'm using cold water. This next I'm going to put it into a brew bag. And steep it into hot water for about 10 minutes. Yes, also part of the challenge, besides the roses, is lavender. Now, unfortunately, our lavender has gone ahead and already bloomed for the year, so I couldn't get any fresh lavender. I actually had to go out and buy lavender here. So I'm just going to take this lavender here. I'm going to scrape off as much of the flowers here that I can. To the bowl here. And we're going to add this to our brew. You can see really what I want is a flower down the bottom here. And that's what I'm going to put in with the roses here. So let's go ahead and get these scraped off. We'll see you at the next step. We're going to take a gallon of spring water. We're going to boil that. All right, now that we're back, we're going to go ahead and start by taking our brew bag here. By the way, everything has been sanitized, as you saw, was starting up. And we're going to go ahead and load up this into our brew bag. I will tell you, this is starting off as one of the best smelling recipes I have ever done. Love the smell of it. And yeah, I've got a lot of rose petals and a lot of the lavender here. We're going to put the vanilla beans in our secondary. And I had to actually order that from Amazon. That's a little bit expensive. The lavender was also pretty expensive. It was like 10 bucks for that package that you saw. I loaded up. So this will probably be one of the more expensive batches that I make. So normally, you guys know, I like to try and keep things inexpensive, show you how to do it inexpensive. You can use, and the better the honey you use, the better it comes out. I'm using honey that I get from Costco because it's relatively inexpensive. It's good honey. I enjoy it. But I've also made it with other local honey that's really good. It's a bit more expensive. And I've made it with some other store-bought honey. That German honey came out pretty good. The rasp flower honey. That came out pretty good. We're just going to go ahead and get this in here as well. See what's the easiest way to do this? Yeah, it's just going to be to pick it up and put it in. I pick it up, I put it in. Get that right in there. Yeah, this stuff smells awesome. Very nice, very fragrant. This is going to be really good. I know who came up with the ingredients list. Good job. All right. So is this all in here? Go ahead and seal this up. And then our hot water is just about ready. Take this, we're going to put it in our bucket here. We're going to do the steeping right in here. We'll toss the string out to the side here. Be able to pull it out afterwards. Keep that close by and handy. Set that in afterwards. All right, let's go get our hot water. Right, when you're dealing with the hot water, be very careful. Wow, does that smell fragrant. All right. Oh, You'll also want a handy dandy thermometer so that you can check the water temperature before you add the yeast. You don't want to add the yeast if it's too hot. You'll just end up killing off. Our yeast that we're using today is the lavender 71B. And since we've already got the water hot and everything, we're not going to worry about rehydrating it. We'll go ahead and just pitch that in there when the temperature is right. We're going to let this go for 10 minutes. All right, so it's now been 10 minutes. I went ahead and cleaned things up while we were away. Resanitized the bowl here. Oh, it's on the bottom. Okay. Yep, resanitize the bowl. Clean that up. We're going to go ahead and pull this out. Careful, it's going to be hot. Start by moving it into the bowl here. Then we can press out the extras here. All right, we'll go ahead and set that aside. Grab our honey. We're going to use about 4 pounds. Which brings it to about this level here. You've seen my other videos, you know that I actually have weighed it out before, so I know exactly where to stop on the bottles, on those bottles. Give this a good mix up in here now. Get it nice and aerated. And before we put our yeast in, we will also stir it up more just to get more air in there. With that, now we're just going to let it cool down a bit, then we'll take a reading. Handy dandy hydrometer. Yes, I'm getting old. Yeah, I want to get this up higher. I'm going to go ahead and add in the rest of that honey. Oh, I didn't think about the fact that the heat is going to have an effect on the honey itself. Well, we'll have to see how this comes out. All right then. I'll add a little bit in there. Get all that out. So we did end up using 5 pounds instead. All right, and we're gonna give that a little bit, come back, take a temperature. When the temperature is down low enough, we'll go ahead and add in our yeast at that point, and hopefully everything will be good, and we'll see you in a couple minutes. All right, and we're back. Let's check our temperature. It took a little while for it to cool down, and we're currently at 98 degrees. Which is pretty much right where we want it to be for our yeast. Now, the other thing I forgot to mention is we will be using a yeast nutrient. We're using the LD Carlson yeast nutrient, and it says 1 tisp per gallon must. So we got a gallon here. We're going to put in a tisp. Tisp in there, and we're just going to go ahead and add our yeast directly in. Again, we're using the lavender 71B. I really like the flavor that this comes out with. I'm going to sprinkle it right up on top here. Give this a stir. And our reading earlier, by the way, we were at 1.120. That should give us about a 15.75% ABV. I do have Star San sanitizer in our airlock here. Don't use regular water. I used to do that, and one, it'll dry out quicker, but it really doesn't stop the bugs as well from getting in. Star San will do that, or you could use something like a cheap vodka. That will keep it clear as well. So the other thing is, as you're putting the lid on the bucket, make sure that the handle, the airlock, is on the other side so that you're able to lift up the handle. You don't want that situation. And then don't forget, click the like button, click the subscribe button, and add yourself in 300 points for doing both. All right, so with that, we're going to go ahead and write down everything that we did into our notebook. I always keep a notebook, put in the dates, the ingredients, temperatures, and what your starting gravity is. You'll need that to know how much your ABV actually comes out to. So 15.75 is the potential ABV, alcohol by volume. Doesn't mean that it will actually get there. Lavender 71B has a yeast tolerance that it has an alcohol tolerance of about 14.5%. So sometimes it'll go higher, sometimes it won't go as that high. But you'll need to be able to take readings along the way to know when it's actually done and to calculate out what your actual ABV is. So with that, we're going to mark this. We'll grab a, I like to use a wet erase marker so that it cleans up easy right on here, but then I also write it down in the book so I have everything right there as well. So until next time, as I said, click that like button, click the subscribe button. We're going to have some videos that you can watch on the side here. There'll also be a link to the subscribe button that you can click on if you're on your TV. Just click the up arrow over to the 3 dots there and click that, and you'll be able to click on the like and the subscribe as well. So until next time, thanks, and keep making mead, and look forward to hanging out with you again next time. Take care.
Where are my roses?